Good morning, beautiful ladies. I hope you're doing amazing. We are back for another dare, the Respect Dare 40 Days to a Deeper Connection with God and with your husband. And today we are doing dare number 12, which is called Leftovers. So it starts with Proverbs 31:26. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. So it's funny because just last night I had a situation that is somewhat similar, right? Not the same, but same, not the same scenario, but same situation with my husband. So she goes on to say, she starts like this: How often do we make life all about me, me, me? We forget that other people work hard, are tired, or sick, or simply are busy just as we are. In this dare, we learn a little bit about different perspective. So, anyways, she goes on to say that she's super tired. Um, and there was like this crazy day. She had to do a million things. And at the end of the day, she looks at all the dishes on the table and she's like, oh gosh, like I don't want to deal with it. So she asked her husband to deal with the cleaning up and with the kids, and she goes on to sleep. So he does, like he gladly does. And the next morning, she wakes up and goes to make her coffee just to find out that the casserole, like half of the casserole from last night, was on the foil on top of the sink. So it goes to the garbage, right? And as she's throwing it in the garbage, her husband walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, And before he walks in, she's feeling all of these feelings, and she's like, oh my gosh, why do I have to do everything on my own? Like, I feel like nobody does anything for me, and, like, whatever. And then he walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, thank you for the dinner last night. It was so delicious, and I'm so sorry we have to throw away the leftovers. I completely forgot. I was so tired myself that after I put the kids to bed, like I forgot I wasn't done with the kitchen, so he did clean up most of the things. He just forgot the casserole, right? And the bottom line here is sometimes an insult or injury is simply the action of someone who's tired, just as we are. Be kind, and you will foster a considerate environment in your home. So I have to be very honest with you guys. And she says that she's in her period and she has all these hormones going on. I have to be honest with you guys. Last night, my husband this week is doing a training, so unlike normal days where he has some flexibility, he's been stuck in front of the computer from 8 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon during this training for a certification that he needs for our business, right? So, anyways, the point is that because we haven't been able since Monday, right? We haven't been able to do our prayers together in the morning as we usually do, to read our devotionals in the morning as we usually do, and to drink coffee and spend time in the morning together as we usually do. Usually in the morning he has his time with Jesus, I have my time with Jesus, and then we get together and we have our time together in our time with Jesus as well. And this week we haven't been able to do that at all. I barely see him in the morning, unless I go into the office. But I see him, he doesn't see me because he's like focus mode, So anyways, my point is that because of it, I was feeling disconnected, last night. And I was feeling like I just needed some connection time, And I had a meeting scheduled, and I wasn't able to give him any time either, because when he was off from work, I was still from the training, I was still in my class, and then right after the class I had another thing coming up, and I was booked until 10 at night, long story short. So anyways, we just didn't have time to connect, and I go downstairs in between one thing and another, and I told him we were going to read a chapter of a book together, and he's sitting on the table waiting for me with the book and his notebook. but I noticed he didn't get my notebook from the bag, you know, to sit with him. And I come downstairs and I was so mad, you know. I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't even get my notebook, you know. I don't even want to see you. I don't even want to read with you, and I don't even want to sleep in the same bed as you. You can sleep in your office today. And I left, you know. And then I come downstairs and I begin to, I come upstairs to my office, and I begin to encounter God. And he begins to tell me, like, why was that for, you know, like, is it his fault that you have your period, you have all your, you know, your PMS and all of your, you know, emotions and hormones and whatever? Was that necessary, you know? And I begin to repent, you know, and I went back downstairs and I asked for forgiveness and, you know, whatever. And he's always like, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. You know, he can say, I forgive you, but I told him, don't say it's okay anymore, because then, you know, we just telling our brain subconsciously that it's okay for me to continue acting this way, and it's not. You know what I mean? And like it says here right at the end, that I'm being very honest and vulnerable with you guys on what happened, but it says right here, first comes control, then comes the ability to see things how God sees them. So if I'm not even able to control myself, which is the only thing we have control of anyways, how can I even see a different perspective, you know? Because I'm just allowing my emotions and my thoughts and my feelings to run wild, right? And I'm responding to it versus I'm reacting to it versus taking a step back and responding from a place of love, you know? So anyways, I thought that was very relevant for me to read this morning, you know, because it gave me a completely different perspective of how other people have reacted, you know, in a similar situation. And how much more I have to learn, right? And we all do, otherwise we wouldn't be here, right? We would already be in heaven, hanging out in the clouds, I guess. But anyways, I wanted to share that because these things are real, you know, like the examples sometimes they seem so silly, but they're real, you know. And if we are honest and we stop to think about, they happen in our daily lives, you know. And what matters is how we come back, right? Like, it doesn't matter that we made a mistake. I mean, it does matter. Let me rephrase that. It does matter. But what matters most is how we come back from it, right? Like right away, you know, I come upstairs and God begins to call my attention, you know, on how disrespectful I was and how I didn't need to act that way. So I went back downstairs. Not only did I apologize, but I was able to open up my heart with him, you know, and I was able to share. It's like, what's happening is that I'm feeling disconnected, you know, and I don't like to feel this way. And it reminds me of times that I don't want to go back to, you know, and so, and I know we're not going back to those times, right? But I guess it triggers in me fear. And that's the truth, right? Like, it triggers fear in me, you know, and because that is something I'm still dealing with, right? That is something I'm still processing myself. But because I was able to open up to him and be honest with him and tell him what was really in my heart, you know, it had nothing to do with the fact that he got my book or didn't get my book, right? It had to do with what I was dealing with inside of me, you know, in the same way that this lady with the casserole, it really wasn't about throwing the casserole away, you know. It was about what she was feeling, you know, and all of these things, like, nobody cares, nobody does it for me, I'm always the one who has to do everything on my own. It's like her own feelings that she's processing, you know. And it was exactly the same thing. It wasn't about the book, it was about my own feelings that I was processing, you know. But when I'm able to come back and share those feelings with him and share the reality of what's really going on inside of me, not only can he understand me better and not think I'm just a crazy person, but or maybe he thinks I'm crazy anyways, it doesn't matter. But my point is that when I'm able to truly share my heart, when I'm really able to understand my own self, right? Because sometimes we cannot even share because we don't even know. Like, we really think it's about the book, we really think it's about the casserole, when in reality, it's really not. What we think the problem is rarely the problem, right? So, I guess that's my challenge to you today. Besides, during your activity, um, dig deep inside of yourself and think. Um, what think of a situation that was similar to this, right? And think, what was really the problem? Like, what were the feelings that I was dealing with, really, that I blamed on the notebook, that I blamed on the casserole, I blamed on whatever it was that the problem, that you made the problem be about. Does that make sense? Think of what is going on inside of you in that moment. Go back to a moment like that. Think of what's going on inside of you, so that you can understand yourself better, and next time you can communicate better. Anyways, I love you all. This was a great challenge for me, just because it had just happened. And yeah, I love how each one of these little challenges, theirs really, take us deeper, into the awareness of ourselves, awareness of God in us, and awareness of our relationship with our husbands, right? I love it. I really do. And I'm grateful that you're all here with me. And I can't wait to hear from all of you. I love you. Have a wonderful day.